have a good day on purpose. And that's people being intentional about having a good day. Regardless of what anybody says about you, regardless of your situation, we are going to be intentional because people only do what you allow them to do. And that's what I had to learn. If you allow them to mess up your day, then they will. If you allow them to take your peace, then they will. I've learned over time to let the
What's up, family? Thank you for tuning in to the DreamNation podcast. My name is Casanova. I'll be your host, and I'm excited to be bringing to you entrepreneurs, thought leaders, and trailblazers from around the world. Stay locked in with us because we're about to go on a journey that will change your life.
What's up, Dream Builder? We are back again. In today's episode, I'm excited because I get to bring to you positivity as you've never seen it before. So without further ado, please help me in welcoming my sister, Miss Crimmins. I want to go ahead and say what's up to Dream Nation.
What's up, Dream Nation? How y'all doing out there today?
Man, we about to get it today.
I'm excited.
I'm excited to really learn a lot more about your story. We got to obviously talk before we went live, but the thing that I'm so fascinated by and something that you said to me is how you continuously show up, and you show up with energy that's bigger than this world. So let's talk about how you have been able to build a brand, because there's many people out there, and let's start it out with, how did you build your brand to now over, 2 million followers across all of your platforms? And how did you do it pimping positivity?
Well, first of all, this wasn't even supposed to be a thing. I wasn't supposed to be a brand. This wasn't supposed to be anything, but this just goes to show that when you keep showing up for yourself and when you're authentic doing it, then awesome things will happen. I started this because I teach pre-K, and during COVID, we were out of school and it was like 3 months and I was just at home, and a friend of mine was like, hey, you should go on TikTok. And I was like, what's that? So I went on TikTok and I saw what everybody else was doing, doing the little skits and stuff. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. So I decided to do that too, being like everybody else per usual, because that was me my whole life.
Yeah.
Trying to fit in and do what everybody else does. So I was never the popular kid. I was always the kid that did not stand out. I got bullied a lot. I stutter. Since I was 3 years old, since I can talk. So I was always the one. I was very outgoing, but I couldn't be because I got teased a whole lot. So I would try to do things to fit in. So that's exactly what I was doing on TikTok. And I never really got that motivation. It was always the opposite. So I had to learn how to become my own cheerleader. So I would give myself pep talks every day. I'd be like, look, girl, you got this. Like you need to go in there and look, don't even worry about them people. Just do what you got to do. So one day I was like, these people don't know me. They don't know who I am. So let me just be me. Let me just be the one person that I never wanted to ever be in life. Let me just try something different and just be myself. So I was doing my normal pep talk, and just like right now, when I'm looking at the screen, I have to look at myself. So I recorded it, and it felt like, okay, I'm talking to me. So I posted my first video, and it was so many people that was like, I needed to hear that too. Thank you so much, because I'm going through the exact same thing. And that's what I was trying to do for people, to be for other people what nobody was for me.
Wow.
That's how this all started. Me being for other people what nobody was for me. And with this, as it started to grow, what people don't realize is that this was a self-healing journey for me, because I discovered my worth doing this. I discovered how valuable I am just being myself, not being anybody else. So if y'all are listening right now, what I want you to get from this more than anything else is that you don't have to try to be like everybody else. Just be you, and the wonderful things are going to happen. You can make your own dreams happen by just being yourself. because the uniqueness that we have, the qualities that we have, nobody else has but us. There's only one.
I love it.
And in this journey, I was able to realize this. And that's how this all happened. Never would I ever thought that it would have got this big.
Wow. Right. And I want to tap into all of that. But first, let's take it back a little bit, because you said, that you are for you what you never had. And you try to be for somebody else what you never had. Right. Which is the beacon of hope,
Correct.
inspiration, a cheerleader, accountability, all those things. So let's take it back, if you don't mind. Like, growing up, what was your childhood like? Did you grow up as an only child, or take us back and
Oh
kind of
no.
give us a picture into your world?
So I have siblings. I have an older brother and I have a younger brother. Grew up with a single mom. Father was out of the picture. Family was really small. I am the black sheep of the family, but let me tell you, I love it now. Like I used to, I was like, oh, like I'm so different. And every chance they got, my family reminded me of how different I was from them.
I guess what
And I
made
would
you
get,
talk to me about what made you different?
well, um, growing up in my family in a black family, as you will, but believe it or not, I am the darkest one in my family. So that was an issue from the jump. Like I would always get teased, and I was told that I was, adopted, that they found me because I was darker than everybody else, and I would get teased from my family about my facial features. Like I can recall going to school, driving to school, sitting with my mom, and now I already get bullied at school as is. I'm driving with my mom, and my mom is literally teasing me about how big my lips are. On my way to school, where I also get bullied. So it was like, I can't run from this. Like, if my mom thinks this about me, then everybody else must be right. Everybody else has to be right. And then it got to the point of my weight. Now, granted, I was not the biggest one in my family, but my weight was always an issue. And the thing that always stood out to me was my mom and other family members saying, you would be so much more prettier if you lost weight. So what registered to me was, well, you don't think I'm pretty now? So over the years in high school and college, I did the things that people do. I had a eating disorder for quite some time, trying to be the prettier, because I was told that that's what it took for me to be that I wasn't pretty as is, that I had to change who I was in order to be what everybody else wanted me to be. And that's what I did. And it was so hard. It was so hard to keep up with what I should be. And I was always this loud, bubbly, just energetic person. And they were like, no, you need to tone that down, because we don't do that here. Like you can't, you can be you, but just not like that.
Right.
Like you could be yourself, but just not so loud. So I didn't know how to be. So I just started to be a chameleon. I just was what everybody else was. I was too.
Now, let me ask you this. When you were going home, right, were you someone who you expressed those feelings to your brothers, to your mom, to say, hey, I'm being bullied at school? Or were you someone, like, I guess, and I'm not accusing anything like that. I guess my only thoughts is, now, is your mom still alive?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Do you have a good relationship with your mom?
I don't have a good relationship with my family. They don't speak to me because I speak my truth. And my truth is different from the truth that they recall. And I'm like, so you wasn't there? Like you didn't remember? Like,
got it.
You didn't hear you still talking to me? No? Okay. But yeah, so they are not on speaking terms with me, but they continue to watch me though. So Hey y'all. But
And only ask that, right, is definitely never to take sides, because I don't know your story, and for anybody who knows me, they know that's not it at all. But I just say, like, would your mom say that I didn't know that you were suffering like this when I was younger? I made this comment, and yes, it was out of ignorance, but back then I didn't know that you were suffering. You're my child, right? I didn't want you to suffer. I thought I was just making a comment or something like that to be able to motivate you to maybe, even though you were a younger age, I was doing this to be able to motivate you to have, some say, hey, you know what? I'm not gonna eat those things, right? Because I want my mom to be proud of me. And I tried other ways. So I don't know. That's why I was asking, would your
well,
mom
I
take
think
that
that
approach? Or do you feel like that it was just of more so negligence, of like you felt like they didn't care for you particularly?
I think at first it was more of I'm saying this to help more than to hurt, not realizing that it is in fact hurtful. And I would let it be known like this hurts me. Like I don't want to go to school and I don't want to come home because not only are you saying things, but you're allowing other people in my family like you're my mom, but you're allowing other people to tell me negative things also, and you're not defending me, and you're feeling that this is being done out of a helpful place, but these words are cruel. And in a lot of black families, we kind of sweep things under the rug. It's like, okay, well, we heard you, but and it's like, no, like I've had to go to therapy. Like I had to take medication for like depression. Like I was in a deep depression and I've expressed this. But it was like, no, you're gonna be okay. Like you're gonna be fine. Like you're gonna get through it because that's just what we do. And it's like, but that's not what I do. like I lay in bed and I don't get out of it for days. That's what I do. That's what I do. Like I cry just randomly. That's what I do. Like at one point in time, I was a cutter. That's what I do. And I tried to express that and it was like, okay, so we're gonna just put you in a mental hospital for like your whole freshman year. And you're right. And then, you're gonna come out better.
So
To me, I was like, so you're getting rid of me because I told you that I had a problem with what you're telling me?
right. And I say this, like, my thing that I'm trying to figure out is, how do we, as black, I don't want to say, as black family members, let's put it that way, right? Because we're all a mother or a father or a brother or a sister or a grand, whatever. We're a mentor to somebody. So wherever you fall in the spectrum, what can someone take away from this, right? And the first thing that I learned is to make sure that you are a protector more than an instigator, right? And an instigator could just mean that you're making these other comments, or maybe you're just choosing to look away or to not say anything when you hear someone else make these other comments about someone in your family, rather than being a protector and saying, hey, that's not what we do, that's not who we are, regardless of how they look, how they, whatever, right? Those are things that we say in private or we don't say at all. So that's the way that
Right.
someone should be hearing it. But two, I think for a lot of us, just like you said, we did grow up in that type of family to say, oh, we got strong genes, or we're strong mentally, or we've dealt with a lot of trauma and now we're 45, 50 years old and we've went through it.
Right.
So you should be able to do the same thing because you come from us. You're a part of this. Where it's like, no, we grew up in two totally different worlds. And so
Yes.
what I'm trying to get, and I guess the tactical approach is, what should someone take away from this? Like, what could have been the solution? Was it just, making sure that you understood that you were felt? Like, how could this situation have went a little bit differently for you in particular?
I wanted to know that I actually had a voice and that I was heard. And not just, I wanted them to hear me, to actually hear my voice, here to listen, and not just here to respond. And that's what I think was going on. Like, they heard me, but they didn't hear me. They just were listening to me so they can respond, so they can tell me that I was wrong. And I needed to be heard. Like, I needed them to know, look, this is how I felt. Like, I'm not trying to be the attention seeker, like it was often called. Like, I'm actually feeling these feelings, and I would like to have a conversation about how I'm feeling, and not for you to downplay it like, oh, okay, well, you're gonna be fine, like this is nothing, okay, we're gonna stop. You want them to stop calling you names, okay, fine, we're gonna stop. That's not, but you're not hearing me.
Right.
Yes, I would like them to not call me names, but I also want you to know how this is affecting me. That's what I want you to hear, how this is affecting me, how I'm feeling, what it's causing, and how we can fix this and have a conversation, or how we can fix this, because you can't tell me that I'm overweight, but then tell me that I can't get up from the table until all of my food is gone, even if I'm full.
Right.
So,
Which is it?
I'm
Right.
like, well,
Right.
you might be the cause of me being overweight, because now in my adult life, now I have that mentality that I have to eat everything on my plate, because that's how I was raised. So you might be the cause of me being overweight, but they don't look at it like that, because that's how they were raised.
Right. So
So we have to break this cycle.
I would agree. Now, that is very, very powerful, right? And I have 2 kids, right? I'm sure a lot of people are listening to this, but I got a 12-year-old boy, and then I got a 6-year-old daughter, right? And so I'm learning these things as well. I feel like I'm a pretty good communicator, but everybody's different, right? So I'm trying to make sure that I'm always coming from a different level, a different perspective as well. But my question, I saw an Instagram video that you did not too long ago, and you let it out by saying, hold up, I know you're not going to tell me you having a bad day. Right?
Right.
Now, so let's transition this a little bit, because you have, in one way, you're hurt, right? You feel like they heard you, but they weren't listening. You go out and you say, listen, this is now eating away at me. I'm, doing all these things. Let's put yourself back in the state of being a 15-year-old girl or guy. Doesn't matter. You're right. And so now, just like you said, they see that, right? And they're hurting, but they follow your page. And then you say, hold up, I know you're not going to tell me you having a bad day. So how do they cope with, one, understanding that nobody is listening to me, and I feel like that I'm down, I'm depressed, right? I don't want to move, right? But then on the other side, it's like I don't get a chance to lay in this sorrow, because I got Althea saying, hold up, you not having a bad day. So how do I decipher that? How do I know when I should allow it to let it soak in? Or how do I know that I shouldn't be listening to what my parents or my family said? They say, oh, it's okay, right? You got strong genes. You not having a bad day. How do I decipher that?
So my mantra and what I stand on is have a good day on purpose. And that's people being intentional about having a good day. Regardless of what anybody says about you, regardless of your situation, we are going to be intentional, because people only do what you allow them to do. And that's what I had to learn. If you allow them to mess up your day, then they will. If you allow them to take your peace, then they will. I've learned over time to let the moment be the moment. So if I have something negative that happens to me, that is a moment, and I will let that moment happen. If I have to cry in that moment, if I have to scream, if I have to be angry in that moment, I will let the moment be the moment. But what I will not do is carry that moment into my day, because not only does that affect me, it affects other people around me that I love, because my bad day can also turn into somebody else's, because I carry that with me. And negativity is infectious.
Facts.
So if I have a bad day and if I bring my bad day home, which actually happened, and that's how I changed my mindset, because I had a messed up day, and it happened in the morning. As soon as I got to work, somebody just pissed me off, and I was just like done for the entire day. And it was just, I don't remember what it was, but I carried that with me all day. And when I got home, my son, he had gotten a perfect score on a test, and he was waiting the entire day till I got home to be like, Mama, look at my A plus. Like he was ready,
You
waiting
died,
at the
right?
door. But because I had a bad day, I was like, oh, okay, Jalen, like later on, just later on, the look on my child's face was like I just crushed his entire, because he was so proud and so ready. But because I didn't let the moment be the moment and I let that moment carry into my day, I instantly messed up his.
Wow. Yeah, and I'm sure somebody right now that's listening or watching this, they're thinking the exact same thing, right? That we've all been, having these like there's a saying out there that says, was it really a bad day or was it a bad 10 minutes that you allowed to milk throughout the rest of your day? Right? And so I think that that's very powerful, and it goes to say, like, who do you have in your circle, in your corner, right? That's
Woo!
continuously empowering you. And that was where my next question was going to be for you. So as you was going through all of these trying times, talk to me about where was it that you turned right after the cutting, after all of these things that you've experienced, where did you turn to be able to constantly seek out that positivity and even start to pimp it into other people's lives?
Well, I met my wife,
Okay.
and gosh, like I don't know where I would be if because she would constantly, like, I would always like second guess myself, and she was like, hey, stop all that.
Stop all
Like, look,
that.
look at you. Why are you second guessing yourself? Like, I used to walk with my head down
Mm,
because it was out of habit since I was, because that's how people made me feel. So I would walk with my head down. She'd be like, hey, pick your head up, because what you looking down for? And I was like,
right.
okay. Okay. And then I learned how to be my own best friend, which was very hard, very hard. And that's when I started to do this self-talk. And I learned that I am okay. What can I say and what can I not say before I finish?
You can say yeah, you can say anything on here, right? I wanted to be candid because I want to know. You said I learned to be my own best friend, and for somebody else, this says how? How did you learn it? Was it in a book? Was
I,
it the Bible? Was it a podcast? Was it a spiritual conference that you went to? Where did you learn how to be
no,
your own
I
best friend?
fell on my face. I fell on my face, and everybody else that I was there for, because I so people have different like addictions. Mine was pleasing people. I was addicted to people pleasing. I was yes, I can do this because I felt like that can make them like me. Oh, what you need me to do? Okay, because I got it. Because I knew that if I just kept saying yes, that people would like me and they would love me, and then I would be accepted. So I became addicted to the high. I was always helping people out, and I always was always around people. But then when Alethea needed something, I'm looking for him in the daytime with a flashlight. Like, where? So one day, well, one few years, I was on my face, like I fell, like I was at rock bottom. And when I tell you there was nobody around, there was nobody there but me. So I had nobody else to lean on but myself. And it really made me take a look at, okay, Alethea, all you have is you. So you have to be the one to pick yourself up. You cannot depend on anybody else. You can't call on anybody. You can't please your way out of this. You have to pick yourself up. So what are you going to do, bitch? Like, what are you going to do? And that was how I would talk to myself. So how I talk to people on it is actually how I speak to myself. I was like, look, what you gonna do? Because either you're gonna get the fuck up or you're gonna just stay down here, and we cannot stay down. So what you gonna do?
Mm.
So I would have talks with me like this, because I don't know how many people know, but self-talk is self-healing. Self-talk is self-care. And you can't just say it inside of your head. You have to say it out loud, because your voice has to be louder than everybody else's voice that told you that you couldn't do it. Your voice has to be louder than everybody else's voice that told you that you wasn't worth it. Your voice has to be louder. So that's why it has to be said out loud. So I started to speak to myself out loud and get to know who I was, because I didn't realize that I was lost until I started to find who I was.
I love it. I love it. Man, they're so powerful, right? Self-talk is self-healing, right? And I think that we can all, it doesn't matter how successful you are. Everybody has a little bit of imposter syndrome in them every single day, whether it's picking up the phone to call that family member that you haven't talked to in a while, or picking up the phone to call that client that you haven't talked to in a while, or getting, that camera out and putting your face on video. It doesn't matter how successful that you are. You know that you want something else that can light you up. But on the other side of that light you up is some type of fear in between, right? So there's that light you up, but in between there's that barrier there. There's some type of self-talk that you need to be able to do to yourself to have that self-healing to be able to get over that wall. So I love it.
Right.
Let's transition a little bit to talk about how you have monetized now your brand, because there's a lot of people out there that say, man, she's now got 1.5 million, if I'm correct, on TikTok. Right. And then you got, over 500,000 on Instagram. Your videos are blowing up. So like, and you don't come from this world of monetizing or having, business mentors. So like, how has that, like, how has that worked out for you? Are you monetizing your brand? Are you constantly getting sponsors that reaches out to you, or what's that look like?
Well, just like you said, I knew nothing about this at all. Like, I was genuinely, and I tell everybody this, like when I was on the Jennifer Hudson show, I said this to her in her face. I was like, look, this is all fine and good that I'm here, but this is line y'all, but this is not why I do this. I do this genuinely for people. Like, for the love of people.
Right.
And my best friend that I've been knowing him for quite some time, he was like, hey, are you like monetizing off of all this? I was like, no, because I don't want to, because I don't ever want this to feel like work, because this is not work for me. He was like, yeah, that's all fine and good, but
Right, don't forget about the coin, because you got to.
And I was like, you can make money doing this? He was like, girl. So I get DMs from like people all the time, and I try to answer as many of them as I can. So he was like, hey, can I just go in your account and just check some stuff out? And I was like, okay, sure. The amount of money I realized I was missing out on from people that wanted to do like brand deals, and I was like, what's that?
Right. So I'm imagining you started to capitalize on some of those, right?
Well, he was like, look, let me be your manager, because, and I was like, okay. And it just started happening. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, me? And he was like, why not you? Why not you? So let me tell all your listeners, anytime you try to doubt your worth and who you are and your value, and you ask yourself, why me? Let that go and ask yourself, why not me?
Love it.
Why not me? Why should it not happen to me? Because you are the shit, the whole shit, and nothing but the shit. So why not me?
Fact.
So
let me ask you this. What
all started coming.
So now you started to monetize. How, like, talk to me about, for somebody that is looking to monetize, what's the potential look like when you get to 1 million followers on a TikTok? Like, what is a brand deal? Who's been your biggest brand deal that you've done so far?
Well, my biggest brand deal thus far, which still blows my mind, is Dr. RX. I'm working with them right now, and
Can you tell the numbers?
It's about around 15K.
Okay. And that for the
Yeah.
whole year, or is that every time you post about them, or?
That's like total, and it's like 6 months. It's long term, and it's over the term of 6 months. So I get about $2,500 a month, and I post like one video and a story, and I'm like, I can get all that from just doing that. And it's like you realize what your worth is and what your value is, and it's like, geez. And when other people see the like value in you, it just makes you value yourself even more.
Right.
And it's just crazy how that works. And then so when I started my brands, because I would see comments of like, you need a shirt with that on it. You need a shirt. And I was like, okay. So he was like, my manager was like, why not make shirts, like brand it, make yourself a brand.
Right.
And I was like, okay. So I did. And in my mind, because it's how we think low, I was like, I might sell like 50 shirts, about 100 shirts, and I'll be good. We are over 3,000 now. And I'm like, bro, y'all want merch with the stuff that comes out of my mouth? Like, what? Yeah, so it has been an amazing journey.
When did you start? When did you start? So you've been now running this for what, 3 years? To 2020 or 2019?
2020.
2020. And throughout I guess talk to me about what's now, because you throughout your journey now, you started to get brand deals, you started to sell merch. What's your end game for this? Have you thought about one?
So I am, and I would always think that my purpose was to teach, because I've been doing this for over 15 years. But the motivational speaker that I have grown to be, teaching is my passion, but motivational speaking is my purpose. And I was able to do this for the first time a few months back. Well, I'm not realizing that I've always done this, but I did it in a public setting, and the response that I got was amazing. I didn't even know, it was kind of like an out of body experience. Like, I didn't even know what I said until I had to rewatch it, and I was like, I said that? And people started to watch it, and they were like, you are a motivational speaker, like you should be doing this full time. So I started doing that, and that's my end game. Like, I want to travel, I want to speak all over the place, and like I just got booked again for like corporate event to do this, to speak. Like, I'm a keynote speaker. Y'all, we have to start believing in ourselves. We have to start knowing that our dreams can happen if we just make them, if we put forth effort and know that our worth and our value, and we allow ourselves to be great. We have to allow ourselves to be great. And that's what I do.
I love it. I love it. Well, I'm sure somebody listening or watching this, if they're putting on an event or they work at a corporation and they heard you and your story already and your mindset, they know I got my next keynote speaker. So I think that that's super dope. Now, talk to me about, is there anywhere that you turn now for your motivation, your inspiration as you're on your journey? Obviously, you got to continuously fill up your own bucket to be able to pour into other people. So where do you turn for your inspiration or motivation?
Believe it or not, my followers, like which I don't like the word followers, but my friends,
Your community.
Every time I feel like, you know what, because sometimes, because I also battle with depression, and sometimes I let the moments take over me. And I'm like, you know what? Maybe this is just not reaching what I wanted to reach. Maybe I should just give up. A DM will come saying how they didn't love themselves and now they do because they hurt me. My comment section, people saying that I saved their life. That's what keeps me going. That's what keeps me showing up for me. That's what encourages me. Because knowing that you make a difference, knowing that people believe in you more than you believe in yourself, it's like, wow. So that's why I keep showing up.
I love it. This has been a phenomenal conversation. I want to be the first one to say thank you, and I appreciate you if no one else has told you that today.
Thank you.
For anybody, we're going to make sure that we put all of the links in the show notes. But for anybody who wants to stay directly connected with you, tell us, where can they find you at?
I am Miss MS _HDIC on TikTok and on Instagram. I recently started my own podcast, yay me. And you can find it on any podcast platform under Pimpin' Positivity, PIMPIN Positivity. And I also started a YouTube channel. You can find me Pimpin' Positivity.
I love it. I love it. But there you have it, Dream Builder. Remember, you have to have that self-healing, which comes from a lot of that self-talk, but you got to keep showing up, if nothing else, because you will have your breakthrough by just being you. But without any action, as we said, everything that she said in her story today was all about action. Without any action, as you all know, that dream that you have, and we all have a dream, without action, it'll only merely be a fantasy. So that's all for this one. We'll catch you on the next one. That's all we got for this episode. Thank you for sticking around. That truly means a lot to me, and hopefully that means that we delivered massive value on this one. If you haven't already, the way that you could say thank you to myself and the team is just by heading over to iTunes and leaving a review and a rating. That's what iTunes loves to see. That's how we get out there even more. And I would definitely be grateful for it. I know the team would as well. Do me a favor and head on over to DreamNationPodcast.com. That's where you're going to be able to find all of the resources that we talked about in today's episode, as well as more exclusive content. And you'll also be able to sign up to our email list where we have more exclusive content. And we always love to hear the feedback from you all because you're our tribe. So remember, in the dream we trust, we'll see you on the flip side.